Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be talking about what I enjoyed and did not enjoy about the Book of Boba Fett. But before I get started, I do want to say if you haven't watched the series yet or you haven't finished it yet and you want to avoid spoilers, do not watch this video because it will involve spoilers. So please, if you haven't watched the entire series and you don't want anything spoiled, just don't watch the video. It'll make it a lot easier on yourself. But up front, I do want to say, overall, I enjoyed the series. I think that's important to say front up. Did I like it or did not? I enjoyed it. Did I think it was better than The Mandalorian? No. Do I think that means the show was a failure? No. I think it's an unfair expectation that like every piece of content that comes out in a series has to be like better than the one before, and if it's not, it's somehow viewed as a failure. I mean, kind of think of the MCU with all the movies that came out. For example, my favorite MCU movie of all time is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Does that mean, even though that was a long time ago, that I think all the movies and TV shows since then have been awful failures? No, it's just that was my favorite, and I haven't really think they've topped it since then. I think they've got close, but they haven't topped it. So taking that back to Star Wars, just because I did not enjoy the Book of Boba Fett as much as The Mandalorian doesn't mean I hate the Book of Boba Fett. I thought it was a really great show, just not as good as The Mandalorian. And I think that has been out there like, oh, it wasn't better than Mandalorian, so that means it sucks. And I think that's unfair to put that on the show. That being said, there was elements of the show I did not enjoy, but there were elements of the show I did enjoy. And I think a lot of times on the internet, the stuff that people do not enjoy gets more attention than the stuff they enjoy. That's just the nature of the internet. And this is going to be more of a free-form discussion. I didn't want to say I don't really have anything planned out. I just kind of wanted to kind of talk what was in my mind and what I enjoyed about the show and what I did it. That's why I've actually kind of waited a couple weeks after the series concluded because I just wanted to think about more. I rewatched some of the stuff to kind of really get a feeling of like, all right, what did I enjoy, what I didn't enjoy. You know, I wanted to kind of get away from the gut reaction type stuff. So the one thing I wanted to start off with, and I'm not the first person that said this, I think maybe the biggest mistake they made with the Book of Boba Fett is actually calling it the Book of Boba Fett. Because it seems like a lot of the criticism, and I think some of the criticism from me as well, was at certain parts of the series, the show just went away from Boba Fett. And it really, once you finish the series, you feel like, you know, there's a lot of this series that does not really involve Boba Fett at all. And I think it's fair to kind of criticize that, like when you're titling a show around a character, you're kind of implying this is the main character. The show and the story is going to revolve around this character. And then when you deviate it for huge swaths of the show, I understand why people criticize. When I did my episode recap videos on this channel, a lot of episodes that I criticized was that, you know, Boba Fett wasn't even in this episode, or he was in it very little, or he was in it, but the plot really revolved around other characters and other elements and stuff like that. I think a lot of those criticisms just would have went away if the show was called something else. Now, I haven't really thought of any brilliant idea. The only thing that honestly popped to mind after the show was over, now I was kind of thinking about this idea, was maybe something like The Battle for Tatooine or something like that. But even that, it's not a perfect title because obviously they leave Tatooine when they go see Luke and Grogu and all that type of stuff. And we follow Din Djarin. Obviously, he's not on Tatooine when it first starts. But I think if the show had been titled something else, then those episodes where you go away from Boba Fett, would it really have felt as weird? Like, well, why are we basically, you know, it's a 7-episode series, and you basically had 2 episodes where Boba Fett was not in it at all. That made it feel really weird. But if the show wasn't called The Book of Boba Fett, I don't think that would have felt as weird. If it had been viewed more as like, oh, this is an ensemble cast, not this is a Boba Fett-driven show, I think a lot of those criticisms would have went away. And one thing in the comments just below, with that idea being said, what would you call the show that you think would have been a great title for how the storyline developed? You know, now see what the storyline was, what would have been your ideal title for the show? Now going back to some stuff I enjoyed, a lot of the characters they introduced, loved them. I was not familiar with Black Chrysanthemum. Absolutely love that character now. Hope we see more of him in Star Wars live action stuff. I've never really read the Star Wars comics. I only have so much time in the day, and that's just a part of the Star Wars fandom that I've just decided, like, I cannot read the comics. I just do not have the time to do that. So I was not familiar with that character. So when he debuted on the show, I instantly became obsessed, and I love him. So very excited for him. A lot of the returning favorites, like you have Cad Bane, Cobb Vanth, Ahsoka, those elements, enjoyed them. Some that I think brand new characters of Star Wars, like the twins, the Hutts, which is also a criticism. I would have loved to see more of the Hutts. I enjoyed the Pikes. I think I might have enjoyed it more if the Hutts were the main villains, and I'm kind of hoping those twin characters will come back in another series. It feels like it's a waste if they just were introduced, that cool concept, and they were literally just in a few minutes for like an episode and a half, and then they were gone. I think that would suck. But going back, I know some people felt like a lot of these character introductions were like fan service, and probably some of them are, but I don't think fan service is initially a bad thing when done right. I think a lot of these character introductions involvement, I didn't really have any criticism on them. Even like some characters I know that some people did not enjoy, like the mods. Now, were the mods my favorite characters? No. Did I absolutely hate them? No. Did I feel like they were out of place on Tatooine? No, not really, because what I instantly thought of, like, teens anywhere rebel. And they want to be different. So a lot of the criticism was like, well, Tatooine's so dusty and gloom. Where are these, bright, tricked out motorcycle teens coming from? It's like, well, I think if that's the world you grow up on and you have the ability to rebel, that's how you're going to rebel. And you want to be different. That's what teens are always like. So they didn't really bother me. But again, were I super fascinated with those characters? No. But did I hate them? No. And they're really, honestly, looking back on it, there really weren't any characters like that I absolutely hated. One element of the storyline, kind of going back on the twins, that I wish they delved into more was the stuff with the Tusken Raiders. Like some elements of the Tusken Raiders storyline dragged a little bit, but I was okay with it. How it ended with their storyline, like a lot of people had a little bit issue with it. Like suddenly they just were killed off and they were just gone, and then the Tusken storyline was kind of over. Other than like how he impacted Boba, I kind of expected in those last couple of episodes when they were trying to gather forces that maybe Boba had developed a reputation with the Tusken Raiders and other tribes would come in, or maybe Din Djarin, who obviously has a relationship with Tusken Raiders as well, would bring some of those in, and they weren't. And so I was a little disappointed we didn't really see that element brought in. So the Tuskens could kind of get a little bit of revenge as well and kind of restore their honor in some way for a tribe of theirs being destroyed by what we find out later, the Pikes. So that was a small little criticism I had there. Honestly, probably my biggest complaint about the show kind of revolves more around the Mandalorian than it does about the Book of Boba Fett. And it is the Grogu conclusion to his storyline, where basically he comes back from training with Luke already and he chooses to come back to the Mandalorian. Now, for this series, I don't think it really hurt the show. Like, the plot-wise is cool, that was fun and stuff like that. My big complaint is more how this relates to Mandalorian Season 3. And it's kind of a pet peeve with other shows in the past, where I've always hated where, like, there's a huge storyline for a season. The season finale kind of concludes that storyline, and then the first season, the next episode basically undoes what just happens. And you kind of feel like, well, I'm invested an entire season of watching this show revolving around this entire thing, and there's this huge conclusion, and then it instantly gets undone in the first episode of the next season. It's like, well, what was the entire point of that huge storyline that I got really invested in, that, like, if with a snap of the finger, it's just undone? Now, was I expecting Grogu to come back to Din Djarin at some point and be involved in The Mandalorian? Yes. I'm disappointed that now when you start with Season 3 of The Mandalorian, which I'm assuming is picking up immediately after the Book of Boba Fett, that Grogu's already back. Yes, I'm disappointed, because now, going back and rewatching Season 2 of The Mandalorian, especially the finale, which was a hugely emotional moment when Din is giving up Grogu and Grogu chooses to go training. When you rewatch that now, that's not going to have the same emotional impact if basically the first choice Grogu was given, he instantly goes back to Din, which, to me, I think that it would have been better if that decision had happened farther in the future. Maybe the third season, you see some drop-ins with Grogu and Luke and Din and stuff like that, and then some event kind of forces Grogu to choose to go back to Din. Not, Din stopped by, he gave a gift to Grogu, and Grogu just is like, all right, I'm going back now. Because that was, I just felt like that kind of cheapened the storyline of the season 2 finale a little bit. But again, that is more complaint related to how the Mandalorian's going to unfold in the future, not for the Book of Boba Fett. So this might have been the right decision for the Book of Boba Fett. I think it might have been the wrong decision for season 3 of the Mandalorian. Now, going back to the Book of Boba Fett, I kind of wanted to touch on some elements that I enjoyed, because I feel like I've kind of touched on some elements I did enjoy. Fight scenes, amazing. Din with the dark saber, that stuff was amazing. Loved the exploration of that. Some of the fight scenes with Black Chrysanthemum, obviously every time he fought, it was amazing. Everything with Cad Bane and his shootouts with first Cobb Vanth and then his fight with Boba Fett. Fennec fight in the season finale, getting to see her show off her assassin skills were really cool. I will say that is a small complaint as well. I would have loved a little bit more exploration of Fennec's background. I feel like of all the characters now in this series, you got the least amount of her, and she was kind of the secondary character, kind of like Boba Fett's number 2, and so you really did get a whole lot of character development, so I'd have loved to see a little bit more of that. The ships were amazing, all the technology, all the places we explored, so Din's new ship is really cool. The ring, space station or whatever you call it, we got to see in Din's first episode in this series was amazing. Getting to explore this kind of a little bit different elements of Tatooine than we've seen in the past, really enjoyed it. Getting to see Tusken culture, really enjoyed that. Kind of getting to see a little bit of the political side. I really enjoyed that. I've mentioned these videos before. My degree is in political science, and I do work for a local city, so I kind of got a little bit of a kick out of seeing like the local elected officials and stuff like that. I thought that was fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the Rancor, obviously, amazing. I think one thing, and I understand why they did it, because I think they wanted it to be a big surprise moment, but I have seen that complaint out there that you didn't really get to see Boba train. It was this big thing like, oh, this is a really hard task, and we never really see it, and then he just shows up and he already knows how to ride it, and obviously it's implied. Maybe those episodes were while we were away with Din, that's what Boba Fett was training, but maybe we needed that training montage with Boba. I think, but again, I understand why they did it, because I think that kind of really made it a bigger surprise when it happens in episode 7 when he shows up. Like, oh yeah, he mastered it. But I think that's another small complaint. But overall, the Rancor stuff, amazing, and I'm hoping we'll see some more Boba Rancor elements in the future of Star Wars live action. Like seeing a little bit of the New Republic in this. I would have liked to see like one little more scene with those pilots, basically explaining, maybe one of them wants to intervene, like, oh, we're getting reports to the Pikes landing on the planet or stuff like that. And the other one saying like, we can't get involved. There's only 2 or 3 of us out here. We just can't do it at the moment. We'll just have to report it and ask for reinforcements or something like that. Because otherwise, it kind of felt like the New Republic was just kind of ignoring the Pike showing up, and instead we're focused on more giving like speeding tickets to Din Djarin. So small complaint, but nothing too big in that regard. Like all Star Wars stuff, music was amazing. So that was my thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you like? What did you not like? What were your overall thoughts on the series? I'd be interested to see what everybody's opinions are. If you did not see my reactions I did to each of the episodes and you are interested, I have created a playlist on this channel for all my Book of Boba Fett content. So it'll be somewhere above here. I can't remember which one side. So be sure to check out those videos if you want to see my specific thoughts on any of the episodes. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.